Tank Engine Thomas Again by the Reverend W. Audrey. Read and adapted by Joshua Boston. Thomas and the Conductor. Thomas the Tank Engine is very proud of his branch line. He thinks it is the most important part of the whole railway. He has two coaches named Annie and Clarabelle. They're both very old and need new paint, but he loves them very much. Annie can only take passengers, but Clarabelle can take passengers, luggage, and the conductor. As they run backwards and forwards along the line, Thomas sings those songs to the coaches, and Annie and Clarabelle sing too. When Thomas starts from a station, he sings to the coaches, "Oh, come along, we're rather late. Oh, come along, we're rather late." And the coaches sing, "We're coming along, yes, we're coming along." They don't mind what Thomas says to them because they know he is trying to please Sir Topham Hatt. And they know, too, that if Thomas is cross, he is not cross with them. He is cross with the engines on the main line who have made him late. One day, Thomas had to wait for Henry's train. It was late, and Thomas was getting crosser and crosser. "How can I run my line properly if Henry is always late?" he said. "He doesn't realize that Sir Topham Hatt depends on me." And he whistled very impatiently. At last, Henry came along. He looked miserable, but Thomas didn't care. "Pah! Where have you been, lazy bones?" "Oh, dear. Oh, don't be cross, Thomas, please," replied Henry weakly. "Oh, my system is out of order again. No one understands my case. Oh, you don't know what I suffer. Oh." "Rubbish," said Thomas unsympathetically. "You're too slow and fat. You need exercise." Lots of people piled with luggage got out of Henry's train and scrambled into Annie and Clarabelle. Thomas had to wait until they were ready. At last, the conductor blew his whistle. "About time," said Thomas indignantly, and he started off at once. The conductor turned to jump into Clarabelle, but he tripped over an old lady's umbrella and fell flat on his face. By the time he had picked himself up, Thomas, Annie, and Clarabelle were steaming out of the station. Thomas was in a hurry to get away. "Oh, come along," he said to his coaches crossly. But Clarabelle didn't want to come along. No, I've lost my nice conductor. Annie tried to tell Thomas what was happening. We haven't a conductor. But Thomas was hurrying, and he wouldn't listen. On and on he puffed. Oh, come along. Annie and Clarabelle tried to put their brakes on, but they couldn't without a conductor, and they kept crying out, Where's our conductor? Thomas, please stop! But Thomas didn't stop until they had reached a signal at danger. Thomas was very cross. "Oh, bother that signal," he said to his driver. "What's the matter?" "I don't know," said the driver. "The conductor will tell us in a minute." They waited and waited, but the conductor didn't come. "Beep, beep, beep. Where is the conductor?" whistled Thomas. He was getting crosser and crosser. Annie and Clarabelle knew what happened. We've left him behind, they cried. The driver, firemen, and passengers looked, and sure enough, there was the conductor running as fast as he could along the line with his flags in one hand and his whistle in the other. Everybody cheered the conductor, but he was very hot. So they let him rest and have a glass of milk, and he told everyone what had happened. Thomas was very sorry. "Oh, I'm so very sorry, Mr. Conductor, sir." The conductor chuckled. "Oh, that's all right, Thomas. Wasn't your fault. It was an old lady's umbrella. Look, signal's down. Let's make up for lost time." Annie and Clarabelle were so pleased to have their conductor again that they sang to Thomas, As fast as you and Thomas went as fast as he could, and they reached the end of the line quicker than ever before. Thomas goes fishing. There is a special place on Thomas's branch line that he always looked forward to every time he passes by it. The side of the river. As he rumbles over the bridge to the station, he often sees people fishing. Sometimes they stand quietly behind their lines, and sometimes they actually jerk fish out of the water. Thomas often wanted to stay and watch, but his driver said no. What would Sir Topham Hatt say if we were late? Thomas thought it would be lovely to stop by the river. I should like to go fishing, he sighed. Every time Thomas met another engine, he would say, I want to fish. But they all had the same answer. Engines don't go fishing, Thomas. Silly stick in the muds, muttered Thomas impatiently. Generally, Thomas had to take on water at the station near the river. One day, he stopped as usual, and his fireman put the pipe from the water tower into his tank. The driver pulled the tap, but nothing came out. Thomas looked and saw a sign near the tower, and the sign read, Out of order. Bother, said Thomas. I'm thirsty. Never mind, Thomas, said his driver. We'll get some water from the river. They found a bucket and some rope and then went to the bridge. Then the driver let the bucket down to the water. The bucket was old and had 5 holes in it, so they had to fill it, pull it up, and put it into Thomas's tank as quickly as they could. Thomas's fireman sang, There's a hole in my bucket, dear Eliza, dear Eliza. But Thomas's driver said, Never you mind about Eliza. Just you empty that bucket before you spill that water all over me. At last they finished, and Thomas started off. That's good, said Thomas. And Annie and Clarabelle ran happily behind. That's very much better, they sang. They puffed along the valley and were in the tunnel when Thomas began to feel a pain in his boiler. Steam began to rush out of his safety valve in an alarming way. Oh dear, there's too much steam, exclaimed the driver. The fireman opened the tap in the feed pipe to let more water into the boiler, but none came. Thomas groaned painfully. I'm going to burst! Oh, I'm going to burst! He cried. They damped down his fire and struggled on. Oh, we've got such a pain! I've got such a pain! Cried Thomas. He was in such a terrible state. Just outside the last station, they stopped the train, uncoupled Annie and Clarabelle, and ran Thomas, who was still hissing fit to burst, onto a siding out of the way. Then, while the conductor telephoned for an engine inspector and Sir Topham Hatt, the fireman put out the fire, and the driver wrote notices in large letters, which he hung on Thomas in front and behind, and they read, Danger! Keep away! Soon the inspector and Sir Topham Hatt arrived. Cheer up, Thomas, they said. We'll soon put you right. The driver told them what had happened. So the feed pipe is blocked, eh? Said the inspector. Well then, I'll just look in the tanks. He climbed up and peered in. Then he climbed back down. Excuse me, sir. Please look in the tank and tell me what you see. Certainly, Inspector, replied Sir Topham Hatt. He clambered up, peered in, and nearly fell off in surprise. Inspector, he whispered, can you see fish? Thomas was shocked. He had always wanted to go fishing, but he never wanted it like this. Goodness gracious me! How did the fish get in there, driver? Asked Sir Topham Hatt. The driver scratched his head. We must have fished them from the river with our bucket, he said. Well, I never, Thomas, laughed Sir Topham Hatt. Oh, so you and your driver have been fishing. Oh, but fish don't suit you very well, do they? No, we must get them out. So the driver and fireman fetched rods and nets, and they all took turns fishing in Thomas's tank, while Sir Topham Hatt looked on and told them how to do it. When they had caught all the fish, the station master gave them some potatoes. The driver brought a frying pan, while the fireman made a fire beside the line and did the cooking. And when all was said and done, they had a lovely picnic supper of fish and chips. That was good, said Sir Topham Hatt, who finished first. But fish don't suit you, Thomas, so you mustn't do it again. No, sir, I won't, said Thomas, relieved of the pain in his boiler. Engines don't go fishing. It's too uncomfortable. Thomas, Terence, and the Snow. Autumn came to the island of Sodor. The leaves were changing from green to brown. The fields were changing too, from yellow stubble to brown earth, and a tractor was busy plowing them to make them ready for the next harvest. One day, stopping for a signal, Thomas saw the tractor at work close by. The tractor looked over the fence at Thomas and said, "Well, hello there. I'm Terence. I'm plowing. And you are?" "I'm Thomas. I'm pulling a train." "You really do look funny. What ugly wheels you've got." The tractor laughed. "They're not wheels, and they're not ugly. They're caterpillar treads, and they're so much better for me. I can go anywhere. I don't need rails like you." "I don't want to go anywhere," said Thomas rudely. "I like my rails, thank you very much." The signal went down, and off he went. Winter came some time later, and with it, dark, heavy clouds full of snow. Thomas's driver was concerned. "I don't like this weather," he said. "A heavy fall is coming. I hope it doesn't stop us." "Pah!" said Thomas, as he saw it melt on the rails. "Soft stuff, nothing to it." And he puffed on, feeling cold but confident. They finished their journey safely, but the country was covered, and the rails were now two dark lines standing out in the white snow. Thomas's cheerful mood soon turned sour when he saw his driver and fireman and two fitters carrying something towards him. "You'll need your snowplow for the next journey, Thomas," said his driver. "My snowplow? My snowplow? Pah! Snow is silly soft stuff and can't stop me." "Listen here, Thomas," snapped a fitter. "We're going to fix your snowplow on, and I want no nonsense. Got it?" The snowplow was heavy and uncomfortable and made Thomas cross. He shook it and he banged it, and when they got back, it was so damaged that the driver had to take it off. "You're a very naughty engine," he scolded Thomas, and he shut him up in the shed for the rest of the day. But Thomas was satisfied with what he had done. Next morning, Thomas's driver and fireman came early and worked hard to mend the snowplow, but they couldn't make it fit properly. It was nearly time for the first train, and Thomas was pleased. "I shan't have to wear it! I shan't have to wear it!" he puffed to Annie and Clarabelle. But the coaches were rather worried. "I hope it's all right! I hope it's all right!" they whispered to each other. The driver was worried too. "It's not bad here," he said to the fireman, "but it's sure to be deep in the valley." "Silly soft stuff," puffed Thomas. "I didn't need that stupid old thing yesterday, and I shan't today. Snow can't stop me." He rushed into a tunnel thinking of how clever he was, but there was trouble ahead. At the end of the tunnel, there was a heap of snow that had fallen from the sides of the cutting. Thomas was being rather foolish and careless. "Ha ha! Silly old snow! Look out! I'm coming! I'm coming! Cinders and ashes! I'm stuck!" And he was. "Back, Thomas, back!" shouted the driver. Thomas tried, but his wheels spun and he couldn't move. More snow fell and piled up around him. The conductor went back for help, while the driver, firemen, and passengers tried to dig the snow away. But as fast as they dug, more snow slipped down until Thomas was nearly buried. "Oh, my wheels and coupling rods!" cried Thomas. "I shall have to stop here until I'm frozen. Oh, what a silly engine I am." And Thomas began to cry. At last, a bus came and took all his passengers away, and Thomas felt very lonely and very sad. Then he heard a noise in the tunnel, and who should come to his rescue but Terence the tractor? Snow never worries him, and he came chugging out of the tunnel. "Hello, Thomas. Don't worry. I'll soon get you out of this fun predicament." He pulled the empty coaches away and then came back for Thomas. Thomas's wheels were clear, but still spun helplessly when he tried to move. Terence tugged and slipped and slipped and tugged, and at last he dragged Thomas clear of the snow, ready for the journey home. Thomas was very grateful. "Oh, thank you, Terence," he said. "Your caterpillar treads are really splendid indeed." "Like I said," chuckled Terence, "they could take me anywhere, Thomas." "Now, Thomas," said his driver, "I hope you'll be sensible now." "I'll try," said Thomas, and he puffed slowly away for the homeward journey. Thomas and Bertie. One day, Thomas was waiting at the junction when a bus came into the yard. "Hello," said Thomas. "Who are you?" "I'm Bertie. Who are you?" "I'm Thomas. I run this branch line." "So you're Thomas. Ah, I remember now. You got stuck in the snow, didn't you? I took your passengers and Terence the tractor pulled you out. I'm here to help with your passengers today." This made Thomas very cross indeed, and he let off steam loudly. "Help me? Ha! I can go faster than you." "You can't," said Bertie. "I can," huffed Thomas. "You can't." "I can." "I'll race you," said Bertie. Their drivers agreed to the race going ahead. The station master said, "Are you ready? Get set, go!" And they were off. Thomas never could go fast at first, and Bertie drew in front. Thomas was running well, but he didn't hurry. "Why don't you go fast? Why don't you go fast?" asked the coaches anxiously. Wait and see," hissed Thomas. "He's a long way ahead," they wailed. But Thomas didn't mind. He had remembered the level crossing. And there was Bertie fuming at the gates as they sailed gaily through. "Ha ha! Goodbye, Bertie!" laughed Thomas. After that, the road left the rails and went through a village so they couldn't see Bertie. They stopped at a station. "Beep, beep! Quickly, please," said Thomas. Everybody got out quickly, and the conductor blew his whistle. Off they went again. Come along," sang Thomas to his coaches. We're coming along," sang Annie and Clarabelle behind him. Hurry, puffed Thomas. Then he looked ahead. There was Bertie drawing out in front as he crossed the bridge over the railway, and he was tooting triumphantly on his horn. "Oh, dearie me, groaned Thomas. "He's a long way in front, wailed Annie and Clarabelle. "Steady, Thomas," encouraged his driver. "We'll be Bertie yet." We'll be Bertie yet, echoed the coaches. We'll do it, said Thomas. Oh, bother, there's a station." And as he stopped, he heard Bertie's horn. "Goodbye, Thomas. You must be very tired. Sorry I can't stop. We buses have to work, you know. TTFN, ta-ta for now. Hoo-hoo-hoo!" The next station was by the river. They got there quickly, but the signal was up. "Oh, dear," sobbed Thomas. "We've lost now." But he felt better after a drink. Then James rattled through with a goods train, and the signal dropped, showing that the line was clear. "Hurrah, we're off! Hurrah, we're off!" cheered Thomas. As they rumbled over the bridge, they heard an impatient honk, honk. There was Bertie waiting at the traffic lights, while cars and lorries crossed the narrow bridge in the opposite direction. As soon as the light turned green, Bertie started off with a roar and chased after Thomas again. They were soon racing side by side at the valley. Passengers in the train and in Bertie got very excited and started cheering and shouting. Thomas now drew out in front foot by foot and then yard by yard and then reached his full speed. He then gained on the bus till they were running level. Bertie tried hard, but Thomas was too fast. Whistling triumphantly, Thomas vanished through the tunnel, leaving Bertie toiling far behind. "We've done it! We've done it!" puffed Thomas excitedly. "We've done it! Hooray! We've done it! Hooray!" cheered Annie and Clarabelle as they whooshed into the last station. The passengers gave Thomas 3 cheers and told the station master and the porters all about the race. Then they gave Bertie 3 cheers too when he arrived. "Well done, Thomas," laughed Bertie. "That was fun, but to beat you over that hill, I'd have to grow wings and be an aeroplane." Now Thomas and Bertie are great friends and keep each other very busy. Bertie finds people in the villages who want to go by train and takes them to Thomas, while Thomas brings people to the station for Bertie to take home. They often talk about their great race, but Bertie's passengers do not like being bounced around like peas in a frying pan. And Sir Topham Hatt has warned Thomas not to race at dangerous speeds and what happens to engines who do so. So although, between you and me, they like to have another race, I don't think that they ever will. Do you?